the #1 potato boss, coming at you from MogPod Gaming for our Opus IV Ice Set review. With us here today is Jared.
Hello.
Kevin.
Greetings.
And Chris.
Hello.
First, let's just explain our card rating system. Chris, do you want to talk us through it?
Yeah, so we've got a 5-point system where we rate our cards out of 5 on how powerful they are in a vacuum. So kind of think if you make a good stuff deck, you just put in good cards, how powerful is each individual card, how much weight is it pulling on its own. We also give an additional 1 or 2 bonus points, or 0, to cards for as a synergy rating, and that's based on if you put it in a deck where you're maximizing the value of the card. So then we can be fair to cards that might have bad themes but are really good within that theme. So in theory, the maximum possible score we could go for something is a 7 because it's 5 plus 2.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's our rating system.
Yeah. Let's just get straight into it. Kevin, do you want to tell us our first card?
Well, our first card is a 6-cost EEX Burst. It is a 9k forward called Amaro. Reads, when Amaro enters the field, you may search for 1 monster and add it to your hand. Amaro must attack once per turn if possible, and he has an S, Body Slam, which is just S, dull. Choose 1 forward, deal it 7,000 damage.
So with Amaro, unfortunately because of the timing of our set reviews, we've actually already managed to play a little bit with Opus 4 for the Ice and the Fire reviews. But we can mention how we thought about the cards before we got to play with them and then how we found them afterwards. With Amaro, I had a bit of a roller coaster because at first I thought, what a meme card. And then I thought, actually, no, he's pretty good because he finds a monster. And now I'm back to, I don't think he's that good.
Don't need him to find your ghouls.
No.
Yeah, like that's exactly the thing because Ice gets Sid Waff, and usually with the most monsters are like more mid to late game plays. You don't need to find them early, and that's what searchers help you do. Searchers don't usually find things later in the game, except on forwards. Umaro's a forward, so that helps. EEX Burst, which is nice, but if we forget the EEX Burst. And then if you draw your ghouls or flans or whatever monsters early, you usually discard them. And then Sid Waff can get them back, and you want that rather than Amaro.
Yeah.
And then you've got other good ice cards like Genesis and Kuja competing for spots. So I found that Amaro's been a bit underwhelming for me.
The thing I kind of like about this guy is that the S makes it so he doesn't have to attack if it's unfavorable for him to do so.
But the fact he has to attack makes his S really awkward to time.
Yeah.
That's right.
Before
It's an on your turn before combat.
I think that also just means like because he can get Brave from the fire, one of the Fire 6 forwards, Stallion.
Yeah, Stallion.
And so, that's a nice little combo. But the thing about Amaro is I just think he's decidedly average.
I mean, he's not small, which is...
No, but he costs 6 all at once.
Yeah.
I mean, he costs 4 because he finds a card, effectively. But 6 all at once.
Yeah.
So.
I feel like to get the 6 synergies, you often need to search for those cards, and I feel like there are better search targets than Amaro.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you're searching for Amaro, but I also don't think that you're unhappy to have hit Amaro.
Yeah.
Like, off a draw.
Yeah.
He's in that deck. If you have space, I'm not saying that you will have space, but if players don't have all the other 6 forwards and they do have Amaro, I mean, I don't think people should feel bad about playing him.
So what was the score, Chris, you gave him?
For Amaro, I think he's a solid 3 plus 0.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, he's just powerful, and because you don't search for him with the 6 stuff, it's like a non-factor, and he's a 6 character. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, next card. Jared, do you want to talk us through it?
So the next card is called Stallion Empire Sid. He's a 3-cost backup, and he's a searcher. So he searches for 6 forwards.
Yes, another one in Ice.
Yeah.
Yep. Nothing much else to say.
And he's our usual searcher rating is 3 plus 0.
Yeah, that's something to know. This doesn't EX Burst and it doesn't share a name with another card, so that's what it has.
Yeah.
Yep. It's
going
just
for it.
It's cool that you can, just like with the 9 package, you can use your Setzer to find him if you want.
Yeah. So the next card is a 2-cost Bard. It's a backup. Standard unit. Pay 1 ice. They'll put Bard into the break zone. Choose 1 forward. Deal it.
I thought this was crazy when I first
Really?
Before playing with it?
Yeah, well, I haven't played with it.
Okay.
No, but
that explains something.
I think it's underwhelming. When I first saw it, I thought it was underwhelming. I mean, You're
So-
spending a lot of resources to do that.
The only reason I'm not playing it is because Sid Waff came out in the same set.
Mm.
and not just Sid Waff, but a whole bunch of other 2-drop backups that break themselves. Because very often when I'm deck building, I find myself just needing a 2-drop backup that breaks itself, and this has a fantastic effect on break.
That's right.
It's
Yeah.
very easy to do, and very impactful on the board.
And an
at the
effect
right
you
time.
almost always want.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
It's pretty
you,
nice.
you lose a backup. That's
No,
Well,
the whole point is
Yeah,
that
the
you
whole
have a backup
point
that
of
breaks
these types of
itself.
backups is
Yeah.
to remove themselves so you can play
Yeah.
better backups.
yeah.
Remember, we played a game recently
Yeah, yeah.
where you wished you could break your
Yeah.
backup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was the score for that?
So this, okay, I'm really torn for this because I'd give it a 4 because like 2-drop backups that break themselves are already quite good. It just depends on the effect that you're getting for it.
Yep.
It's also a good effect.
Mm.
So that's why I put it as a 4 for how powerful it is. But like I said, I haven't played it. But if it's in a deck and you're playing a game with it, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, but okay, that's my philosophy
It's
of
just-
why I'm giving it
yeah,
a
yeah,
4.
I,
But-
I can get behind giving it a 4.
Yeah, it's a strong
Yeah.
card. It just
Okay.
gets pushed out by other stronger cards.
But at the same time, I think depending on your deck, this card could push those cards out as well.
So next card. Do you want to talk us through it, Chris?
Yeah. Oh, it's a bad.
Bad again.
Yeah. So this bad 2 CP, 2 ice and 2 generic CP. Dull. Put bad into break zone. Your opponent discards 2 cards from his hand. You can only use this ability during your turn. So again, it's one of those 2 CP backups that break themselves. Tons of those happened in this set for all the elements. This effect though, I think is just too expensive.
Yeah.
But if you are heavily pressuring your opponent's hand, having more of the same can be really powerful. Because the strength with the backups that break themselves have is timing compared to enters the field effects.
Mm.
Enters the field effects like on Jill and the Bard. Timing can be a bit awkward because you can waste the effect because you just need the backup.
That's right.
Whereas these, and as long as you don't need the effect of the turn you play it, you can get them at the perfect timing, just usually at an inefficient CP cost.
I think this card is like an automatic include into decks that want you to discard lots, because discarding 2 cards is much more effective than discarding 1 card.
It is, but there are really good discard cards now.
Yeah, there are discard cards that do other things as well, and they're much cheaper as well.
Those ones tend to be the better ones to play in most instances as well, because you want your discard card, like your card that has cause to discard, to do other things beyond that, like once they've run out of cards in hand.
Anything, it costs 4 and dull, so it costs 5 to not impact the board.
Yeah, your whole backup line if it's full.
Yeah. So you like, yeah, that's my biggest point against it. Like for a 4-drop backup that had like just dull break and they discard 2, I think it would be better.
But do you remember last time we were talking about how you can play the Opus 1 Sephiroth, and then on the response play use the ability of this one, and you just decimated the opponent's hand?
Yeah, but there are Flans now.
Okay, so the existence of Flans makes this card worse.
I mean, if you compare this to the
They're
Opus,
more efficient.
Mm.
Yeah.
if you compare this to the Opus 1 2-cost card, I believe,
Yeah.
where it's just 1 ice, dull, discard, opponent discards a card, which is also you can use it on your opponent's turn as well. So
Yeah.
that's
I
better.
think
in
that
way.
bad's better.
Mm.
Even though discarding 2 at once is a much more severe
Mm.
effect,
Mm.
just it's much more flexible for yourself to use. You don't have to give up most of your turn.
There are corner cases where this one might be better, but most of the time I don't think you're going to
Yeah.
play this one over other ice backups.
I guess if you really wanted to play like Sid Stein, then you'd consider this
Yeah.
card, I think.
It's just
Okay.
the
'Cause when-
emergency
when,
Sid
yeah,
All-Stein turn.
when they have to have no cards,
Yeah.
then this card,
Mm.
I think you might put it in a deck.
Okay.
Is Sid Allstein 1 or fewer or no
It's
cards?
0 cards.
It's
0
0
cards.
cards.
Yeah.
So what was the score, Chris?
I think this is a 2
Just
Yep.
a 2 plus 0.
because it just has the fringe application. But most of all, I don't think it's
Okay.
worth a slot.
Okay, so next card, Kevin. Do you want to talk us through it?
So the next card is one of Chris's favorites. It's a 2-cost monster called Ghoul, and it has the text: Ice, generic, dull. Choose 1 forward, dull it.
Ah, it's amazing.
I hate this thing.
Yeah.
so-
I hate it with the fiery passion of 1,000 suns.
Especially since you're a fire player, so
Ah.
there's no way to remove this.
This is just like
My
one of those.
Zandy sat there for 4 turns.
It didn't even break.
He didn't even break.
That's why you play Earth for Magic Plus. No, but like this is one of the few monsters where you want to run monster removal
Yeah.
for. Like
Yeah.
like you want to run the Kefka Legendary in your deck, or you want to run the Alexander, you want to run the dragons, just so you can
Rama.
destroy it.
Rama. Yeah.
Rama,
Yeah.
just so you can get rid of it.
Yeah, Ghoul it's found its way as 3 of in many of my ice decks I've been brewing at the moment. I do have an ice fire deck that it's not present in, but
It probably will be later.
but it's just so back in Opus 1. Does anybody remember the Bard?
I do.
It's-
I hated it then, and I hate this
it's-
now.
Just to clarify, it's a 2 CP 4,000 power standard unit Bard that has 2 ICP dollar forward. I remember playing it when Greg was first started playing Final
Oh, yeah,
Fantasy,
yeah.
as he knew all like the meta cards.
Yeah,
But he's like, wait, what's that? Because I love Bard because the effect is really, really strong.
yeah.
But I had to stop playing it because it died.
Died
Like,
too.
very
really-
easily.
Very easy for free. Ghoul doesn't. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ghoul is essentially an Amon with haste.
yeah. And it's just so impressive. It turns on all your effects. It helps you lock out the game once you're getting near the end game. It helps you survive if you need more breathing room. I described this to somebody once as, do you have a strategy? Then Ghoul fits in it.
Do you want to win the game? And then play Ghoul.
Do you want to not lose the game?
I remember players at the pre-release being unsure about Ghoul.
Yeah,
No,
Ghoul, in
no.
my preliminary review before the set,
It was good.
I gave Ghoul a 5-star rating.
Does it
And I
hold up?
stand by the 5-star rating for Ghoul.
I definitely see that.
Yep.
5 plus 0?
The only 5+0 I would say.
Yeah, 5+0. Because it's like, it is a CP intensive card. You can't just put it out there early. But this is what Sid Waff is for.
It,
Like,
it's also one of those cards that turns on a lot of other strategies. So it's giving, I think, a lot of other cards the +1 stat.
Yeah.
Whereas it doesn't need those other cards to be good.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. It pulls its own way and enables other strategies. Fantastic.
I think its only downside is that it can't be searched by Gomez.
Oh god, that would be disgusting.
Which was one of the upsides with the other Bard. You could
Yeah.
search it with the Gomez.
Can be searched for with
Ghoul.
Umaro.
With the-
Umaro or Dark Kefka.
Ghoul doesn't need to be searched.
Yeah.
I know,
Because
I know.
the time in the game that you want it
Yeah,
is the mid to late game.
Mm.
And so if you've got 3 in your deck, which I usually do because they stack well, they work
Yeah.
well in multiples.
Yep. They were
And,
disgustingly in multiples.
Because of Sid Waff existing, you can discard them early as well.
That's right, yeah.
Sid Waff existing really helps the numbers for Ghoul.
Mm.
Okay. So next card, Jared, do you want to talk us through it?
Sure, we've got Black Mage. It's another 2-cost backup that breaks itself. It reads Dull, put Black Mage into the break zone, choose 1 Dull forward, deal it 4k damage. This card has existed in Fire since Opus 1 and has seen consistent play in Fire since Opus 1. And now this slight little choose a Dull forward instead of any forward.
And
For
the
one
reducing
CP
the
less.
reducing
Yeah,
cost.
and you reduce the activation cost. This is I think gonna see a lot of play.
Yeah. In any ice ping deck, this
Yeah.
is a definite consideration to
Ice
include.
Fire, Ice Wind.
It's funny
Some
because
Ice
I have an
Lightning
Ice Fire,
lists.
an Ice Wind, and a mono ice deck, and I don't play this.
I thought you had put them in.
I tried them initially,
Okay.
but I've just gone for more Sid Waffs.
Alright.
The,
Maybe I'm underestimating the importance of that bastard Ghoul.
remember we gave the Magus and the Lightning, we gave it a 4+0.
I think
I think this is very similar. It's a 4+0 because it has the same. I
It
guess
has the same taste, pretty
It's-
much.
it's-
Let's be honest.
except for its ice instead of
it's,
lightning.
it's what Shiva was in Opus 1, like the 1-drop Opus 1 Shiva was to the 1-drop Opus 1
Yeah.
Ifrit.
Yeah, very similar.
And the
Or-
1-drop Opus 1 Rama.
Rubber. Yeah, yeah.
Right? It's that design archetype but in
Yeah,
backup form.
Yeah, that triangle
Which-
kind of.
which is good.
Yeah.
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 I did try it at first, and it does pull its weight. I'm not saying it's a bad card. I think it's like the other 2-drop ice, apart from the bad at discards. Like I think these all just fill up a 4-star slot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next card is the 2-cost Sage, which is another breakable.
Yeah.
They never end.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's pay 2 ice, they'll put Sage into the break zone, choose up to 2 forwards opponent controls, freeze them. It's a Jill on-call Jill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jill at a time.
Yeah, because you just wait for the perfect. You can just put it down early and wait for the perfect situation to just jail their board.
You trade the EX Burst and the special ability for the multi-card icon and the better timing.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, like, I think you don't even need to break this back up for it to be effective.
And they just
Like-
don't
like
want to
they-
attack.
Yeah, like, the opponent doesn't want to attack
Yeah,
it.
it'll sit there and rattlesnake.
Yeah. Out of all the multi-card 2-drop ice backups that break themselves in this opus, this is the one I'm most likely to play. I think, just because you don't even have to use it.
Yeah. It will replace Jill in some decks. It will be worse than Jill in some decks, and some decks will just play
Run
both
both.
of them. Yeah, and just always freeze your board.
Okay, so what was our score for that?
Well, it's a 4, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a bit higher on the 4, but it's still a 4.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Okay, so what's the next card, Chris?
Arithmetician. So it's a 4 CP multi-card standard unit backup. When Arithmetician enters the field, select one number, dull and freeze all the forwards of that cost. I wish I could justify playing this card.
It reminds me of the Exodus from
Yeah.
the Lightning Summon.
Except it doesn't have the drawback of your opponent getting to choose the worst outcome.
yeah.
For you.
It's potentially very powerful.
Mm.
I think it's a meta-dependent card slot choice.
Yeah, if there's like a one number devastating the meta.
Yeah, I'm
pretty good.
I mean, because like you play a lot of water, most of your
Yeah.
guys end up costing
Three.
3 or 5.
Yeah. So, say your opponent has 3 drops in play. This is
Insane.
Not. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna want
And you can
to
also
find room for that effect.
Yeah.
you can also time it so that you're not affected by the dull.
Yep.
And you can attack first, and then just freeze your guy if it's gonna hit your own guys.
Yep.
But then usually if you're using this, it's to get rid of blockers.
Yep.
So then it will dull your guy. But it costs 4. 4 is a lot. And the time you use this, I imagine, is as a finisher, in which case you have a 2 CP summon in the Opus 3 Shiva,
Yep.
which will probably hit the same number of
Yeah.
targets without the potential downside.
So then this card might be better than Shiva in the situation where you're just trying to survive.
Yeah, when you're just trying to survive and develop your backups,
Yeah.
and you don't mind losing a backup slot to this, then this will be better.
You can in a lot of those decks just keep your opponent's things frozen afterwards while yours thaw and activate.
Yeah.
And a lot of strong turn or early players go 3-drop into 3-drop, so this can potentially shut that down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it gives you, like Jill, it gives you a lot of time when you play it.
A lot of
I-
ice cards do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what they do best. I can see this being played as a 1 or 2 of and many decks.
That's the maximum amount of it I would
Yep.
play.
Yep.
Is 1 or 2.
Possibly 1. Just
Yeah,
in
probably
a lot
just
of
1.
decks.
It's just that 4 devouts at 4. And devouts ridiculously, insanely
Yes.
8
Devout
stars.
is in every deck ever that exists.
Just so,
if you're playing ice.
Yeah, I mean, just for reference for the viewers, if you guys ever thought there's no 5+2 card, Devout is a 5+2 card.
Yeah,
Devout's a 5+3 card.
Yeah.
So what was our score for the Arithmetician?
I think 2 is fair because we can imagine the fringe application and it winning games.
Yeah.
But probably won't
It's not
consider it
worthless,
much.
but yeah,
Okay.
unless
Yeah.
you're making a very particular kind of deck.
And in that particular situation.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to tell us about the next card, Kevin?
Okay, so the next card is the 2-cost Shiva EX Burst Summon from this opus. It reads, choose one dull forward, deal it 6,000 damage and 1,000 more damage for each card named Shiva in your break zone.
Why do they keep getting all my fire cards?
That's where they're going.
They stole your Black Mage, now they steal your Ifrit.
Oh, but it says dull on it, Jared. It's not the same. It's the same thing.
But better.
This one's better than
This is-
Ifrit.
Yeah, this is better than.
It scales better than Brunhilde as well. I mean, there are so many Shivas in the game. How many are there now? This is the 4th one?
This is
Yeah.
the 4th unique Shiva.
Yeah.
Yep. So you can run 12 Shivas in the deck.
Yep. You get
Yeah.
like
Oh my god.
17k damage. Wait, yep, 17k damage.
Yeah.
Play
That's
that and-
probably killing a thing.
You
Yeah.
run 1-drop snow as well, so he
Yeah.
gets the extra freeze off.
Gets like
Yeah.
so many freezes off every game.
In my early iterations of Mono Isis Opus, I've been running Snow and 6 Shivas.
Yep.
And I've been using his and freeze effect a lot because I've been casting Shivas in the same turn.
Mm-hmm.
This makes me feel happy playing the 3-drop Opus 1 Shiva. Because to me, it's always a toss-up between that one and the Opus 3 Shiva that dulls 2 things.
Yeah.
Because obviously, dulling 2 things for 2 CP is, in my opinion, a lot stronger than dull and freeze 1 thing for 3 CP. But the EX Burst is really nice in the 3 CP Shiva, and if you just want to discard the Shivas anyway to power up this one, you can just discard the 3-cost one and not be like, I'm losing applications later in the game.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was the rating for that?
I think I'd give this a 4+1 as opposed to a 5, just because it demands a lot of deck space. You can just run 3 Shivas. It felt average if you're only running this Shiva.
Yeah. You're also relying on like Sid, Brains, and
and if this gets to the damage zone, it doesn't go to the break zone, so it doesn't power up your next Shiva.
That's true.
So the EX is really nice to have. At least you still get something. But if you're only running 3, I've been happy with 5 Shivas.
So next card, do you want to tell us about it, Jared?
It's a 2-cost backup. It's a World of Final Fantasy character called Sid. World of Final Fantasy.
Wow.
He's a backup. He says, Sid Waff cannot be broken. Dull, put Sid Waff into the break zone. Choose 1 monster of cost 2 or less in your break zone. Play it onto the field. You can only use this ability during your turn. Why don't the ghouls just stay dead?
It's appropriate that he's a mech because he's like oil in your machine. Like, he just makes everything so much smoother.
He's oil in your machine and he raises the dead.
He's devout again.
Yeah.
For monsters.
Okay, I think this is the best breakable 2-drop backup because in every element. Because if you consider all the effects that the monsters have and just put them on Sid.
So it has all of them.
Yeah.
Wow, like just depending on your deck, right?
He has any one of them.
Like, imagine, like, for example, Goblin, a very, whatever, like it's very good, but you probably have Goblin in your deck. Dull Break, give something haste, draw a card. That's an insane 2-drop backup.
Yeah.
Or like, it's like, Dull Break, pay generic and a lightning, Odin something. That's Dragon, it's just amazing. Like,
eventually you'll be able to do that, pay some wind and kill a 5-drop.
Yeah, because
that pains
the
me.
monsters are costed as things that don't give you CP, so their effects are really good.
Yeah.
And so Sid Waff, like hijacking their effects, and then like those are the monsters that break themselves, like Goblin and Odin. You bring back a Ghoul.
It just stays there.
Yeah, it stays there. So it's like a dull. It's only marginally worse than the bad that we talked about. You only pay 1 extra CP, but you get to keep a Ghoul.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
that's right.
It irks me that he can't be broken. Don't think he needed that large deck.
Yeah.
That's just to rub it in.
No, that's one thing, right? He can't be broken, and on top of that, he's not a 3-cost, so Hekaton here can't even target him. So it's like
Literally Archer and Sephiroth.
it's just so like so. Ice gets devout, and they get this.
Yep.
yeah,
How is that
this,
fair, Square
this,
Enix?
this plays very differently to
Yeah,
Devout, though.
it
Yeah, it
definitely
does. Yeah.
Because you think of this as an insane backup with the break effect, whereas you think of Devout as it's more the forward is taking the limelight. Like it's an insane forward, you get to play at like summon speed on your turn, and bring it back from the dead, and for only 1 CP on the turn that you do it. You're not really saving CP with Sid Waff. It's more the fact you play him early when your monsters are too resource intensive to play, and then later on in the late game you bring them back and you have a huge toolbox of monsters in your break zone, or you just bring back the ones you plan to use in the late game anyway. So yeah, I think this is just like 5 stars, right?
Just 5 stars.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
He's
Okay.
as good as the monsters.
Okay. So the next card.
All of them. Yeah, all of them.
So the next card is Sid Randall. It's a 4-cost 8k forward. If you control card named Remedy, Sid Randall gains 1000 power. When your opponent forwards into the field, if your opponent doesn't pay 1, dull that forward.
It's like the poor man's Ultimecia.
That's what I
I think it's better than Ultimate.
I mean, insofar as he's not a legend. He's a rare, right?
I mean, yeah.
I think in some instances, I mean, your opponent can play around that if the interplay dull effect.
The enter the play is like you give your opponent the option of either they make it active or dull. But Ultimecia doesn't give you the option. That's why
normally
Ultimecia affects your own board as well.
Normally giving your opponents a choice is negative, but in this case, like saying all of your opponent's forwards cost 1 more, that's
terrible.
Yeah, nobody ever wants to pay one more.
Yep.
The other cost with Ultimate is then you have to play water as well.
Yep.
Obviously,
Yeah,
water's
Sid is
bad,
in
but,
ice.
but all the effects that really capitalize on that effect are in ice.
Mm.
And earth, I guess.
Just randomly.
Yeah, they have things that kill dull things. So yeah, my opinion on Sid Randall is I've played against it. I've used it in the pre-release. I haven't found a slot for it in my deck, but it's still something I want to try out. It's just so hard to fit in as like a 4-drop. Oh, the line of text, if you control card name remedy, Sid Randall gains plus 1000 power, I think we can just like ignore.
Yeah, almost. It's going to be almost irrelevant.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay. I mean, what's
It's something.
it's nice to have. It's like gravy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just great.
Yeah.
If you're playing Sid, you might play the Searcher for him, which also finds her. So you might put
Yeah.
like a one-off remedy in your deck.
Maybe,
There's-
just to really hate on that goal bit.
Yeah.
There's a whole package with the Sid, the remedy, and the mute.
Yeah.
Because you can put it in there, and it's not as costly.
Yeah, I want to try it with Mecha Chocobo. I haven't
Mhm.
Yeah.
got around to having them both in a deck yet. Just because there's like Genesis and
There's so many
Stelis
4-drops.
Yeah.
yeah, like there's already so much I'm trying to fit in. But having played against it, it's really annoying. But I feel like it's mostly just really annoying, as opposed to really impactful.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion of the card.
Yeah, I mean, also it's devoutable.
Yep.
And it can be played without it. It doesn't have to be played with remedy or mute.
Yeah,
He's-
it doesn't need
Yeah.
remedy mute to be good.
He's also a 4-drop 8 or 9k,
Yeah.
which in ice, that's
Like
it's
it.
surprising to be on curve, right?
Not anymore.
Well, I mean, up
Yeah.
until now. It is.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was the score, Chris?
I give it a 3.
Just 3 plus 0?
Yeah, a 3 plus
Okay.
0. I don't count the extra line of text as synergy rating.
So, next card, do you want to talk to us about it, Chris?
Setzer, yes. Ice Steiner. So, it's a 5-drop forward called Setzer from Category 6, 7k. When Setzer enters the field, you may search for one Category 6 character and add it to your hand. Unlike Steiner, it doesn't EX, but it gains the line of text. When Setzer is put from the field into the break zone, choose one forward opponent controls, dull it and freeze it. Well.
It's
6 package.
It's the card that starts the 6 chain, right?
Yep.
Maybe it could be the second link.
Yeah.
It's because of
Yeah, you
just
can
Stallion
Setzer
and
into
Ice
Sid or Sid into Setzer just as
Yeah.
easily.
I think because obviously searches, how good they are depends on the cards they can find. And lock existing really helps Setzer.
Yeah.
Aside from that, his search targets are like
Terra.
you want them at strange times.
Yeah.
They're usually quite time sensitive. Like using the rare terrors enters the field effect, or the light terrors searching for a summon, or Kefka to break all your to break things and then break a thing with it.
Yeah.
That's what I've found with the 6 package as such. Like
Yeah.
the 9 package, you just play them proactively.
Yeah. Whereas most of these cards are reactive. There's also Strago as well.
Yeah.
to me.
Oh, to be fair, I'm only thinking of the ice ones.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I haven't got the cards yet to
Right,
make the other ones.
right.
So, yeah, bringing fire and water into it, that can change a lot because you get more proactive
Strago
ones.
is definitely good with this card because this is a card the opponent doesn't want to kill most of the time.
Yeah.
Because of its on break effect. So
Yeah.
generally, if you play Strago with Setzer in play, you're either gonna get the bounce or the dull and freeze.
Yeah. But that's obviously an include in
Yep.
in decks where you're playing Category 6 forwards.
Even if you're just splashing category 6 forwards, I can see.
Yep.
Like, playing
Yeah.
this card.
Yeah. If you really want to draw specific ones, then yeah, this
You
is
don't have to
nice.
run a whole category 6 deck
Yeah.
for you
And
to actively use this card.
if it was just a 3 CP without the search pack, but with the when it dies, dull and freezer
Summon.
thing, that's okay.
Yeah, that's pretty
You
good.
know, like so
So like a better rogue at that point.
Yeah, it's kind of like Rogue.
Because you
Yeah.
can pick.
yeah, sort of. I think of it as like a worse Manoa.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
maybe.
But yeah, it's so it's such a like,
Yeah.
Yeah, what was the score, Chris?
I'm torn between 4 and 5 for this one.
I think we can give it a 4.
Yeah.
I
No
was
synergy
thinking
score?
like a 3+1
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
because It is built for a very particular deck, and sure, we normally say a Searcher is just 3, because we assume it has all of its targets. This guy's also a forward, so he's different from most Searchers, and he's got that extra line of text.
But it's not great to bounce, and it's not great to kill.
Yeah.
So
It's really annoying forward,
Yeah.
even after
Yeah.
it searched something. So it has utility both ways.
Okay.
yeah,
So-
but I wouldn't argue if everyone agreed it was a 4.
Yeah, I think 4 is fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So Kevin, do you want to tell us about the next card?
Okay, so the next card is a 2-cost Sarah. It reads, when Sarah enters the field, choose one forward opponent controls. If you control a Category 13 forward other than Sarah, dull it and freeze it. When Sarah attacks, you may pay Ice Ice. If you do so, your opponent discards 1 card from his or her hand.
It's a well, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
It's just a really strong effect on a very small forward,
Yeah.
which is what Ice likes, I guess.
Like a little mini Genesis, right?
But it's
Yeah.
on curve,
Mm.
and it's a 2-drop forward, which I didn't have many before. I had Sid Reigns,
Yeah.
and then I guess Rogue came along now. But she's sort of proactive. You still kind of want to hit something with her. Enters the field, but she's perfectly fine if you're against a deck you know it's not too risky to play something out early, because she has a major threat attached to her if she gets to attack.
Spend a card, discard a card, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just trading cards, pretty much.
But when I've used her, I've quite often had the 2 CP in my backup
Exactly.
line
Yeah.
and being able to use it. However, she really does want 13 forwards, and that really limits the decks that she's viable in my opinion.
So you've got a few in Ice, though, right? You've got Snow and
You've only got-
Sid.
you've
Are they the only 2?
You've only
Yeah.
got Snow, Sid, and Swamp Monk.
Yeah.
Oh, Swamp Monk.
And they're all quite fragile, so you can kill them in response relatively easily
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
the Sarah being played.
Yeah.
They're all
And-
5k or smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
so like, Snow dies easily because you can't play the backup Sarah if you're playing the
Yeah.
Sarah for it. And also, Sid Reigns is a reactive card that you don't want to just have out there to turn on your Sarah.
Yeah.
You only use him like a summon that comes with a 5k.
So are we thinking like Ice Lightning with Knolls and Lightnings?
Yeah, I use her in Ice Fire.
Oh, Ice
She's
Fire.
absolutely fantastic in the Ice Fire deck.
Because
I've been really surprised by how good she
You've
is.
got Lebro, you've got
Saz.
Kaz,
Lebro's a backup.
you've
Leb-
got-
Saz.
Sorry, not
Fang.
Lebro, I meant Gado.
Gado, yes.
Gado.
Gado.
Yeah.
Saz. Fang.
Caius is
Yeah.
a big one.
Yeah,
It's
I've been
harder to
using-
remove.
There are actually quite a few Fire 13 forwards,
Yeah.
aren't there?
I've just been triggering her with Godot and Caius, and I did have Zaz, but I took him out and it's still been fine.
Okay.
Because you get Mog 13-2 in Ice as well, who can find.
Findo.
It's usually finding Caius.
Okay.
But it finds the thing that then she's just nice to draw.
Yeah.
She's like fantastic because so easy to play
Mm.
and with a
Yes.
really impactful effect.
Yeah, it's just really cheap double freeze as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A downside is once she's attacked more than once, she's now costing more than Genesis. And she's smaller. But I think that's fine. The flexibility you can play with Genesis and really pressure the opponent with both
Yeah.
dull and freeze and the discard on attack slash damage. So yeah, I think Sarah ends up as an average card outside of the 13s, and then I can give her a plus. I could even go to +2 with her. Like I've been thoroughly impressed with her.
Yeah,
Even
if
though
you-
I only run her as a 2 of.
Yeah, if you can
3+2.
if you can
Yeah, I'd be
capitalize.
happy with that.
I think
But again,
so.
I wouldn't argue if people wanted to go 3+1.
Okay.
Yeah, I really, really like her. She feels really powerful in the deck where I use her, but I just can't put her in any other deck. So, yeah.
I think that is the token 3+2.
Yeah.
Okay, Kevin, do you want to tell us about the next card?
So the next card is a 4-cost Category 6 character. It's Sellers. She's a 4-cost 8k and reads, when Sellers enters the field, choose one character, freeze it. This includes monsters and backups that she can freeze. And she also reads, when Sellers deals damage to your opponent, choose one dull forward opponent controls, deal it 4,000 damage. And she has an S, Runic, S, Ice. Choose one summon, cancel its effect, activate Sellers.
I really like this card, but
Really?
God, I hate playing against it.
Yeah.
I hate playing against this card because every game I've played where this thing has happened, or where this forward has come into play against me, it has frozen my turn 1 backup.
That's beautiful.
It's-
That's courtesy of yours truly.
Ah!
It's really good because generally you
And then-
keep your hand and you plan your first few turns just like perfectly, you know,
Yeah.
deterministically, and then Seller just completely throws. At,
That's
like,
It, like, it sets off this like cascade effect of
Ineffective turns.
inefficiency.
yeah,
Yeah, and she's also just, oh, by the way, I'm an 8k forward now.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. She
You
puts,
have to respond to me with less resources than you were planning on.
yeah,
So,
I really appreciate how the creators knew the value of this card and made it a legendary. You know, like I'm not sure about you guys, but when I first read this, I was like, it's okay. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
You know, hey, yeah.
if I'm completely honest, that's what I felt like as well.
And then when it gets played against you, it's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Everything is now terrible.
It's
she, like in the instance where she's played on turn 1, she like you're saying to your opponent, all right, well, no odd cost card is coming out of your hand this turn unless you played 2 backups on turn 1.
In which case, you probably wanted to use both of them. for
Yeah.
something.
That's right, yeah.
Like 2 3 costs, or like a 5 cost and a 3 cost, or a
Mhm.
2 cost, or a 4 cost. Like
yeah.
any of these costs.
Any card.
Yeah.
And she doesn't lose that utility in the late game because freezing a character is good at all points.
And if she freezes your opponent's backup and it's like, they're like, well, I wasn't going to use it anyway, you're playing against somebody who had a bad hand.
Mhm.
So either way, like,
Yep.
you're in a good position.
And then she's got the second, her second line of text isn't irrelevant either.
It's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
it's-
not
she's like,
irrelevant.
this isn't cheap as Andy. See, this is you ice players stealing what made fire great.
Well,
and
to
then
be honest, it has to deal
putting it
damage to the
Yeah.
opponent.
Oh
That's
yes,
damage.
but it's
It's but like the 4K usually needs to be followed up to kill something.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like it's not a standalone.
yeah, but most of the time that's the
But
same
see,
as Andy.
No,
she
it's
has a
not.
third
5K,
line of text
we're-
as well.
Yeah. Kevin, that last line of text.
Yes.
As well.
Tell me how you feel about this in particular. Because
Um,
Jared can explain the first line of text,
Yeah,
choose
yeah.
a character, freeze it, and I'll let Kevin explain the last
Yeah,
line.
you know, if you're relying on summons to either stop you from dying or maybe just win the game outright, you know, Sellers kind of stops that, you know?
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
Because it's any summon, it doesn't matter the cost, so it could stop a Sildra. Obviously, you probably wouldn't play a Sildra into this, but generally, if you're getting like a high value Leviathan that's just shut down by Sellers, and you know, just to add salt to the wound,
Yeah.
It
she
actually
activates.
Yeah, I love
Yep.
that she just randomly
Just
activates.
That's like no, that's like a water, wind, and lightning effect.
Yeah.
You know, she just gets it as well. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I think that when people figure out that this card is good and play lots of it, they're gonna have to play more ability cards. Like Dragon will get rid of this very easily.
Yep.
One
You know
thing
what I'm
I
saying?
enjoyed was when I played a turn 1 Una and then Chris froze it with Sellers. I just fanfreted. That felt very good because the fanfret didn't need the backup.
Yeah. But even then, you're spending 2 cards. I'm spending
And-
3.
Yeah.
And
I'm
on
freezing
top
you.
of it
So
all,
you came out head down.
she costs 4, which means she comes back with
the
Devout.
Yeah.
To be fair, she's not the best devout target. Like you, she's still a great devout target. I think if mono ice becomes a thing, this card will have a big role to play.
Yeah,
in that.
I definitely agree.
Because
with
it's
that.
even good in the mirror. You just freeze their devout. Long that play out for a turn.
Yeah, exactly. And she's also an 8k.
On curve.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then with Duke Lag becomes huge, and it's like actual forward.
And there's category 6 synergy.
Yeah.
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 She has two searchers and her own
A
element.
big forward that your opponent doesn't want to do damage to them. Like,
Yeah.
it's fantastic card. So I think we can rate this card a 5.
Yeah.
No synergy?
+1.
Because like
She has lots of lines of text, and
which
in
makes
a normal situation, you won't be getting use out of all of them.
I think
You just won't be getting use of the 4k on damage. That's the only one that you get extra bonus from. So I could see a +1 from that.
Okay, so what? Is this Isis 5+1?
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah, okay. I can
think
go
so.
5+1. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright.
She can be a 6 in the sentence.
Okay. Okay. The next card is a 2-cost Rogue. When Rogue deals damage to a forward, dull it and freeze it. It's a 2 cost 5,000 power forward.
a standard unit as well.
Yeah.
It's an ice forward.
Yep.
The thing about this card is it only really works with cards like Robon. Otherwise, you're just trading a forward for a dull and freeze effect. Because 5k isn't going to really kill anything.
Yeah.
I think the point is, right, you can attack with this and either get through for damage or the rest of your team gets through. Or it's an effective, like, it blocks and that thing isn't going to contribute to your turn when it happens. Right? That's the idea.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not saying this card is a good card, but I'm trying to imagine the instances wherein it's being played.
I really like the art, but
In the end, it's dull and freeze for 2 CP.
Yeah, but it's a delayed, and
It's a
then
delayed
your opponent
and
gets to
conditional.
choose.
Yeah.
It is an ice standard unit, which there is a lord for in the form of DGS
There's-
Trooper First Class.
Yes. Yep.
So
But then, like, okay, but when you like make this a big forward, let's say Warrior of Light with DJ's Trooper, it's an 8k, whatever, it attacks.
Yeah.
If they're gonna block it, like, and they die, the Dull and Freeze doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like
that's the exact problem with this card.
Yeah, it's like I would run it maybe an Ice Earth with the Hecatonk here and the Robon to kind of maximize that effect, so I can choose what to Dull and Freeze essentially.
yeah,
But like, other than that,
That's
Well,
it's,
it's
it's
very
not a
undeveloped.
very strong card.
it's a bit of a weird one.
yeah.
Yep.
So I don't know. Personally, I would give it
I think it's a 2.
I'd give it a 1.
yeah, I'll give it a
1.
1.
Yeah.
It's one of those cards.
we can imagine places where it can exist.
Can you? Go on then.
He just did, like in some sort of
he just
Earth deck.
and then explained that it wasn't good.
We've given worse cards
Yeah,
once.
Okay,
I mean,
give it
better
a
cards
1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So next card. I guess the next card is nothing. It's just.
Oh no! The next card is Symbolic of Isis Return to the Curve. It's a 4-cost 8k. Here we go.
Yeah.
Okay, steady unit synergy.
Yeah, this is better than Rogue.
It is. It's a lot better than Rogue.
But
Yeah.
we'll just skip the rating
Yeah,
for this
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us about the next card, Chris?
Swamp Monk.
Yeah.
I do. So it's a 2 CP ice monster called Swamp Monk from Final Fantasy 13, and it has ice until the end of turn. Swamp Monk becomes a 5,000 power snow. 5,000 power, and when Swamp Monk attacks, choose one forward or monster, dull it. You can only use this ability once per turn.
So not snow. It doesn't get the Shiva.
Yeah, it doesn't get a Shiva.
But you can dull a monster.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even notice that before.
Really? Oh.
Oh wow! I didn't notice that before.
Yeah.
Can dull bombs?
Yeah. It does the monster
Ah,
blockers.
Okay. So I haven't found a space for Swamp Monk in any of my decks yet, but I'm
You're
not
going
gonna
to
write
now.
it off.
This is very good against Behemoth because Behemoth is just that beast.
Yeah,
It's
it's blocking.
like
Marlboro as well.
Yeah,
It's-
Marlboro. Yeah.
it's hard to kill, right?
Yeah,
Because it
it's hard
turns
to kill.
into a mostly unkillable thing once your turn ends, and you can time it awkwardly for your opponent in combat, and also it can turn Sarah on.
Of course.
Just because you can turn this into a forward in response to Sarah coming into play.
It's category 13 forward.
Because
Yeah.
then it'll be a category 13 forward,
Mhm.
and it's a pretty safe category 13 forward, as it's a monster.
That's right. Yeah.
So I like this card. Having said that, found it hard to put in decks still, but I don't tend to build the super aggressive decks, and this could go really nicely in an aggressive list.
Yeah, because a lot of the ice forwards like Snow and Kuja dull things on the attack, which a lot of monsters are immune to because they'll wait for that trigger to fizzle and then they'll turn into a monster and then block your forward. And this just really helps you get around the monsters. If we
you
see
can party
a lot
attack.
I guess you could party attack, but if we see a lot of like monsters that can block coming into play, this might see more play in ice decks.
Yeah, I just said that I can see it in aggressive decks, but the thing is, it's still resource intensive, like all monsters. So the timing's a bit weird.
I don't know about you guys, but my experience with monsters, with paying that one extra CP, have been pretty positive. Like I played the Begamnam Thief or
Banga Thief.
Banga Thief,
Yeah.
and it always felt good to activate an attack.
Yeah.
I don't know, like it's like
This was in the pre-release, right?
Yeah. So like it never felt off, so to say, you know.
In the pre-release though, you don't really get to choose your curve as well.
Yeah.
Like when you build a deck, your CP is usually accounted for most of the time.
Do you think you'll put Bunga Thief in a deck?
Yes, yeah.
I think so as well,
What kind of
honestly.
decks?
I already put out my Mono Earth.
He's in your Mono Earth?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, definitely, yeah.
Okay.
It's actually very good.
And
there.
I suppose, Chris, you've already said that you want to find room for this, right?
I want to try it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So maybe
Like-
it's not as costly as we think.
Yeah.
Because you are like, sure, you're having to pay more and more over time, but you're still getting like that forward speed removal proofness, right? You're like, it doesn't die to Shantoto, it doesn't die to the new Roban, it doesn't die to the old Roban, unless it's EX bursting.
I like to think of these monsters with these little costs as you're paying this as like to protect them, so to say.
yeah.
So
That's
this
what's
is one cost is to protect them for all those turns that you didn't use it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's
And also, quite often, Snow can be an extremely relevant card but do nothing.
yeah.
And Swamp Monk can do the the same thing, be
Yeah.
extremely relevant and not do anything.
Yeah.
It just forces your opponent to overcommit to defense if
That's
they
right.
don't want to take damage.
Okay, so what was our score?
I'd give this a 3.
Yeah, I think it's a 3.
Having said all that.
Yep, three seems very
But keep an eye out if monsters come into the meta quite strongly.
good. Yeah, that's right.
It's definitely one of the high utility forward monsters,
Yeah.
right?
Okay, Kevin, do you want to talk to us about the most hyped comment from Earth?
Oh,
from
is
Ice?
this
From
the most
Earth.
high
Ice from
common
Earth.
from-
This is
okay.
not. What?
I don't think so.
Well,
I would,
okay, so-
other than Ghoul, I would say so.
Ghoul, Sid, what?
Nah.
Shiva.
More people hype
I mean,
this
yeah,
on Facebook.
I have seen more hype for this card
Yeah.
than
Really?
either of
Yeah, I
those,
have,
but
yeah.
well,
Okay.
anyway, we'll explain ourselves shortly. This
Yeah.
is 2 cost Baboo Babus Babas.
Okay.
2 cost Babus or Baboo.
Babus.
He's a 5k, and he reads: When a forward opponent controls attacks, choose one forward opponent controls. If your opponent doesn't pay 1, freeze it.
Yeah, I mean,
It feels to me a lot like the Dark Knight Cecil.
Yeah.
Like, you don't ever
Sort
want to be
of.
attacking with more than one thing unless you can
No.
pay.
No, because if you're attacking with this, you're probably attacking with lots of things
Yeah.
as well. Like,
It just taxes your opponent's attacks essentially.
yeah, you can just have a few things
Mm.
frozen.
Yeah.
The Babus controller gets to choose what gets frozen,
Yeah.
which is
Mm.
nice for them.
I saw a lot of decks on FF decks popping up with taxing decks, ice
Yeah.
taxing, lightning ice
Yeah,
taxing.
yeah. There's a lot of tax.
I'm not entirely sure of how strong these are, but paying 1 does hurt.
This is supposed to shut down a lot of aggro decks, but a lot of aggro decks are enabled by wind, which has lots of reactivate effects. So often they can just like not pay and then just activate all their forwards anyway.
Play your Azura to activate
Yeah,
your
yeah,
attack
or
as
Play
much
your
as
Bards.
time.
Yeah, play your
Yeah.
Riku
What to do
Riku
anyway.
backup EX,
Mhm.
and just activate your forwards
Yep.
and render Baboo irrelevant.
Yeah, like my experience with it, I've popped it in a deck to experiment with it. It's taken the place of Snow in that particular deck. And so far, we tend to play pretty slow decks, I feel.
Yeah, yeah.
Like medium to slow decks, and it hasn't really done anything.
Obviously, if your meta has a ton of no backup aggro decks, this is
They-
insane because they have to pay
yeah.
2
Yeah,
if
yeah.
they don't want to
Yeah.
get frozen.
But then, like, in that sense, it's a hate card.
Yep, it is
Because
a hate
against
card.
the slower decks, they can really easily remove this.
Yep, and they
Yeah,
don't even
typically.
need to attack if it's a slow deck, honestly.
Yeah.
Even some of the faster decks, like the mono fire aggressive decks, they play the backup VV. This is gone.
Yep.
Yeah. Or even the forward PV, which is probably the one
Yeah,
they're playing. And yep, it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's I don't really see it finding a place in just as because of itself.
I mean, after all the hype goes down, I do see it being played much less. But
There's a
I think
deck for
I
it.
think there's a deck for it, like you said.
Yeah,
there's a deck
like
for
just
it.
like with Sid Randall,
Mm.
it may even be the same deck.
Maybe yeah.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, you just have like a tax themed deck.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's probably the only home I see it in, unless it's a meta call as we've discussed.
All these
Yeah,
additional costs,
Mm.
like additional
So-
costs in most card games tend to get a lot better the more of them you impose.
Should
Mm.
we score this as a hate card?
I think so.
I would
What about a 2+1?
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah, 2+1 is good.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can agree with
Mm.
2+1.
I can
With
see
the
that.
proviso, it could be amazing. And
Yeah.
Yeah, it could just
Yeah.
annihilate an entire archetype.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, can I do this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Alright, Flan! So it's a 1 CP monster called Flan, and its type is Flan, or its job rather.
Yeah.
It's employed as a Flan. And it's from Theatre Rhythm, and it has Ice Dull, search for one card named Flan and add it to your hand. And Dull, put Flan into the break zone. Your opponent discards one card from his or her hand. You can only use this ability during your turn. Flans! I've been excited about Flans since I played Final Fantasy 13 2 and Flan School was a thing.
Oh yeah.
And then this lets you search for other Flans. It's a Flan School in one card.
Yes.
So that's just before we even get to the
One
amazing applications
whole
of Flan.
pile of putrid pudding.
You just get you just pay 5 CP, get a Flan army on board.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like you can use that double ability straight away, which is incredibly relevant.
Yeah.
We should probably we were talking about that bard earlier.
Yeah.
Flan does more than that
Yeah.
and is more flexible.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
It's okay. So Flans. Here's the deal with Flan.
Mm.
So Flan is all about timing.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't want to play this early because it takes up a lot of your own CP and in increments of 1, so you want to pay for it with backups. And that means that you don't really want to draw your Flans early, but you want 3 on your deck because of their effect.
Yeah.
Which means they are playable because of Sid Waff
Yeah.
existing. It lets you discard the one that you draw early and still get it back for Sid Waff and turn your Sid Waff into an army of Flan.
Yeah. You never want to draw the second Flan.
No, you don't want to draw it. It wastes
the
your
third
draw,
one,
basically.
Yeah.
It's
But
yeah.
once you've got all these Flans in play, there's a multitude of uses for them.
So many uses.
So, the obvious use is your opponent will discard 3 cards in a single turn.
Mhm.
That's insane!
That's
They
insane.
end their turn with 5 cards if they're hoarding, and losing over half of that in one go, that's insane pressure on your opponent to play the cards out of their hand. Which means they're playing into board wipes. So you can use that information to set up a board wipe.
Yeah.
And your opponent can know that you've been planning it for ages. You could even like search the Zalora with a light terror and just like, look, I got a Zalora, what are you gonna do?
you gotta keep cards in hand or get forwards on board.
Yeah.
And then the use that we've discovered.
Oh, this
from
is my
Flan.
favorite one.
This is the best.
This is the ultimate Flan capade. Is you sacrifice 2 Flans and the Fair Maiden Renoa to Kefgard, the legendary Earth card. You kill Guy or whatever would survive this.
And it's always Guy.
It dulls their board and then you Zalora. And your Flans are still there because they've played their cards, so you've got no value from discarding them. Or if they don't play into this board wipe, then you just make them discard their hand with Flan. And you still have Kefka, which you can...
The thing that
sacrifice
really
forever.
annoys me about this is that, like, there's no efficient removal for it.
No.
Like,
No.
it's a one cost thing, and then like even if you like remove it, you just wasted a card from your hand.
You
Yeah.
can't
You know,
remove
like,
this
it's-
actually because you can just respond by.
By making a new one.
Yeah,
and
you
the
can search.
and the event that it was already dealt.
Right.
Yeah.
Then it's already found a card.
Then it's already found a card.
Yeah, I know.
So
So
you
it's-
cannot remove this.
No, I know. No, I'm just saying like it's a bad situation at all points. You know,
Yeah.
whether it's active, whether it's dull, whether you try to remove it, dragon or whatever, Kefka, it's bad. You know. It's,
Yeah.
The biggest weakness of this Flan is that it must take up 3 slots in your deck.
Yep.
And that's why I can't end up playing some of these other ice cards that seem really interesting.
Does it take up a summon or forward slot?
For me, it takes up a monster slot.
No, I know.
I mean, like, I think monsters have become their own slot.
Yeah.
I'm running less forwards than normal in my mono ice deck than I used to pre Opus 4. Because the Flans, you're only really playing like a 47 card deck. Or 48 card deck
if you have
when
a plan.
you got the Flans. So the ratio goes down a bit. And the Flans are taking up this space that's not really space when you consider it that way.
Because they're just cantrips essentially, right?
They just fit in your deck.
Also, something we completely forgot to talk about is that it costs 1 CP to find 2 CP.
Yeah.
So it's fine,
So
just
it's
like
so
if you,
flexible.
Yeah, if you don't need the Flan effect, you just search
Yeah.
search for 1 CP, discard it, get an extra resource for that turn.
It's also really intimidating for your opponent when suddenly the 3 Flans appear because they're just full-size cards
Yeah.
and they're just on the board and it's like, wait, what? Where did that come
There are
from?
3 more cards in play.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, and I have used Flan in all these situations we've described, and it's been really good in all of them. It's just not good when you draw it early, but like I said, Sid Waff covers that really nicely.
It's a checkmate in 1 card.
Yeah, Yeah, it is.
When you get to that point,
Yeah.
Yeah,
With backups.
it gives ice or mono ice late game of I win now.
Yeah.
So like you start to craft around, it's not as bad as like a combo of that you literally win now. But yeah, combined with Kefka, combined with the fact that Kefka is a 6 character that can be searched with the ice cards, combined with the fact that it uses a summon Zala, which can be found with a 6 character, which can be found with the ice cards.
There's also the dark Kefka, right? You can make your 3 Flans and then turn them into 3 7K forwards.
Which you got essentially for very
Well, because
cheap.
you can have that Kefka
Yeah.
find the first Flan, which will then find the rest of the Flans.
Yep. Yeah. So I love me some flying.
I'm looking forward to the inevitable, or I presume is an inevitable sweeper for monsters, because I'm happy that they're here now, and I think that Opus 4 is going to be a very different environment just because monsters are here, and I think it's a good sort of way to revitalize the game and sort of the end of the tournament season.
I'm rating for flying.
Yes.
So I think I'd give this a 3+2
I agree with that.
because it demands a lot of dedication in your deck space. Which is why I just don't play in every ice deck.
Yeah.
Also, the increments of ice CP mean it kind of you want to dedicate yourself to ice as well.
It demands deck space and play style. 'Cause you need lots of backups for.
It's a late game thing.
Would you play it in dual color?
I find it very hard to include it in a dual color deck.
Yeah.
Also, because the other colors, the other elements, monster.
Might be relevant.
Yeah, probably. You probably want slots for the other elements.
Yeah.
Okay. So our next card is a 3-cost backup, Mute. It's an EX Burst. It finds Sid Randall and Remedy. There's nothing more to say about this. It's a 3+0. It's a searcher. It goes
It's an
into,
EX.
It gets an EX. It goes into that little cute little combo with the Sid Randall and Remedy. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next card is
Are we going to rate it or?
it's a
It's a
3+0.
3+0.
Yeah, it's 3+0.
So
I think you want to say this card, don't you?
all right. So this card seems pretty good.
What is this card, Chris?
I'm glad you asked, Kevin. This is a Mecha Chocobo.
Wow.
Just in case
I've
anybody's
never heard of this card before, Chris.
well,
You haven't talked about it in 2 podcasts.
Okay, so Mecha Chocobo is a 4-drop from WAF, a 7k forward. Mecha Chocobo cannot be chosen by summons.
Wow.
When Mecha Chocobo attacks, choose 1 dull forward of cost 4 or less opponent controls, break it. When Mecha Chocobo is blocked, break Mecha Chocobo. Mecha Chocobo!
If anybody wants to see like a more in-depth look, you guys can go to the podcast number 1, but
Or 2. Or 3.
or 2 or 3.
Just be around Chris anytime he's thinking, breathing, or talking.
But in terms of how we play tested a little bit now, what are your thoughts coming into it?
Okay, so every time I have played Mecha Chocobo, it's done some serious work. I have not been disappointed by Mecha Chocobo. It's always killed at least a thing, and it's often killed 2 things, which is amazing. Like, look at the cost of Kefka, right? And then, like, look at this. This kills 2 forwards. The
Or
times
more.
that I've been doing it. Yeah, but usually the game's, like, wrapping up.
Usually 1 by day.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The thing about Mecha Chocobo is that last line of text is a relevant line of text. When Mecha Chocobo is blocked, break Mecha Chocobo. You just have to build around that. And you need a sheer density of ways to get Mecha Chocobo through. It demands a lot of deck slots.
I can definitely see partying with Mecha Chocobo and the and the Swamp Monk to get rid of a monster, because that's pretty much Mecha Chocobo's biggest weakness is a bomb or a behemoth or something like that.
You don't party with Mecha Chocobo most of the time, because if they block the party, Mecha Chocobo dies.
Oh no, but the reason why I'm saying with Swamp Monk is to get rid of the.
You probably just attack with
You just attack the Swamp Monk.
Yeah.
I have made a party with Snow, Sid Randall, I think, and Mecha Chocobo, just because I needed to threaten to kill the thing that would block this party.
How would they kill it though?
No, I kill it because I've got Sid Randall and Snow survive, and that's like 11k damage.
Oh, okay.
Like Mecha Chocobo dies to that. They blocked it because Mecha Chocobo, they had a chance to kill it.
Yeah.
I've been. It's a good card, but I can't auto include it.
Yeah,
in my
it is
ice decks.
definitely.
It's too much of a build around, right?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's 3+1, right? Would you
It's a
guys think?
5 when it's got
I
the
think
synergy
it's
going.
3+2.
3+2.
3 plus 2, definitely.
I think
You
4+,
need
no.
like almost
You can-
every dull effect in the game. It goes like you need all of them with
Okay.
this card.
Yeah, I'm so torn between 4+1 and 3+2 because it is just powerful. Like the
If you don't build around it,
yeah. So if you
is
just
it,
chuck
is,
it
is it
there,
an average card or is it above, like way above average card?
it's not way above average. It's not a 5, but I still think it's powerful if you don't
Mm.
build around it because it changes the way your opponent has to play.
Yeah, they have to just like
It's like
very
and
not
you're-
commit into this.
you're in ice, and so we have to think of what's a good stuff deck that doesn't have like
Don't.
Ice's theme in an ice deck. It's doable. You could do a burn deck instead.
Yeah, a full burn deck and ice,
Yeah.
which requires a lot of them require them to be dull anyway. So
Yeah, that's
So-
the thing.
At which point,
That-
Mecha
this is
Chocobo just
why-
kills most forwards.
Yeah.
This is why I'm having such a hard problem deciding whether to roll the dulling effects into the base power or the synergy. But I've got it in the Ice Wind deck at the moment with Nono and Zemus, and Dund. Donated to
Donated.
dull monsters so that they can have like Mecha Chocobo.
Mm.
And it's been doing absolutely. Jared can tell you. With the ghouls and things. But,
Bloody Ghoul!
so I can see 3+2.
3+2? Okay.
I
3
think
plus
I'm
2.
happier with 3 plus 2.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, it's 3+2.
Okay, 3+2. So next card is Lich. I actually want to talk about this card.
Okay. Go
I'm
ahead.
actually pretty excited about this card. It's a 4-cost summon. Till each forward opponent controls equal to half its power.
Just
Round
1,000.
up to the nearest 1,000 power. I really like this card because it really opens up the mono ice archetype, in my opinion. Like, I know that Genesis is a staple and mono ice is still gonna run Genesis, but my version of mono ice is with Genesis Avatar and a whole bunch of these glitches to kind of have a board wipe. Because ever since Opus 1, I thought that you can't really make a mono deck without a board wipe of sorts in case you're behind, and this just opens up the possibility. And yeah, I just think it's great in that regard.
It's got a lot of combo potential, not just in ice, but outside of ice.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
With
it's
fire and
exceptional in fire with bomb and with. There's already lots of other AOE there, but bomb is the standout new piece of AOE.
When my initial rating for this card was 1 star, and my reason for that was it costs a lot and it doesn't do anything on its own.
Yeah, you need a follow up to this.
Yeah, it must have support and it costs 4. However, I don't think it's 1. I think it's more than 1.
I think it's 2+2.
because it combos with itself.
Yep,
And-
2 liches,
Yeah.
board wipe.
And yeah, it seems really good with bomb and blade beam from the new light cloud, and like attacking with these like Orlandos. I don't know, like ranges. Like it's just I feel like Ice, thanks to Zalora, already has a board wipe which does something on its own and can also be set up to be devastating. Whereas this must be set up to be devastating, but doesn't do something on its own.
It's definitely not as good as Zeller, don't get me wrong there, but I think it really makes that archetype of mono ice that much better.
Yeah, it hits different things to Zalora
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. This can hit 4 costs. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, 4 costs.
It can kill
6 costs.
Vincent.
And 6 costs.
But it dies to Minwoo.
Yeah.
So
That's true, yeah.
You can do it
Like,
to your opponent's
this-
Shantoto and
like,
wreck their board.
most cards which lose to Minwoo still at least do something when Minwoo's in play. This does literally nothing if Minwoo's in play. So, and then like you said, Genesis is a staple. It's hard to put in Genesis Avatar, which is called Genesis.
Yeah, yeah.
In
I
all
now,
know.
which is a
situations.
I
situation.
do, yeah. I do understand that, but I think there's a very good mono ice deck there.
I
Because-
think it's more in non-mono colors.
Yeah, I think it's for a dual color deck.
Yeah, I mean,
my
like
opinion.
already a lot of elements. You have wind has a lot of AOE that they got. Fire has bomb, which is amazing. And Earth has obviously other ways to capitalize on it. They got Barret, and they could just magic pot their Genesis.
Yeah. That's the more one. The better one. Magic
We've
Yeah.
also got some older cards like Yang, who
Yeah,
kick, which is half of his power.
Yeah.
He's usually the biggest thing in play.
yeah.
So half of his power plus
half of
your
their
opponent's
power.
It's gonna kill the board.
This all being said, once you set it up, you get like a 9k wipe with bomb. I think
Yeah.
that's the one that's the scariest.
Yeah, it's
Having a bomb in play already.
Yeah, if you have a bomb in play, this costs your backup line, which is like pretty cheap.
Hey,
Like,
yeah, for a late
relatively.
game
Yeah,
board wipe.
Yeah, for a
like-
late game board wipe, it just costs 5 backups.
Yeah,
Is there anything that doesn't kill? What's the threshold?
10Ks and above.
yeah, it doesn't
10Ks
kill
and above.
things.
Okay.
Or a Minwu board.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
but then if
But-
you add like one more CP, like you use your Sage on your bomb or
Mm,
something,
yeah.
then it'll do more.
Yeah.
But yeah, so for that reason, I can agree that 2 plus 2.
Yep.
2 plus 2.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
definitely very strong in a deck that can utilize it.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Kevin, do you want to tell us about the next card?
So the next card is a Remedy. She's a 3-cost 7k. If you control a card named Sid Randall, Remedy gains 1000 power. When your opponent plays a character onto the field other than from his or her hand, if your opponent doesn't pay 2, break it.
It's the Ghoul Bear's hate card.
The Ghoul Bear's hate card
Yeah.
also hates around Magic Pot.
Devout.
Devout
Yeah.
cards like Elena and Gal.
I can turn your bats into a queen.
Hurts Azul. in Lightning.
Azul, yeah.
Makes that behemoth that he brings back cost 2.
I
Yeah.
think it hits one thing in every element, I think.
At least.
I
Yeah,
remember
I think
thinking
so.
about this.
Yeah.
What is it and when are things that get put into play off of like Varn and stuff?
Oh no, that's
No,
from
no.
hand.
Oh, that's
yeah,
from your hand.
yeah, it hits Devout.
5
Oh,
cost.
Devout.
Yeah,
When the
yeah.
5 cost Devout.
yeah.
Forgetting the
Or,
forgotten younger
Fat
brother.
Chocobo.
Yes,
yes,
Fat
Fat
Chocobo.
Chocobo.
Yeah, yeah, Fat Chocobo. So there you go. That's what it hits and wins. Yeah, but
It's like Palom Emporium as well, with
Yep.
1 cost.
yeah.
That's
Oh yeah,
the
the
kind
power
of-
pose. It's just like a hate card that doesn't contribute to your own strategy.
Yep.
And it's quite a narrow hate card as well. Like it's not like your opponent is like, damn, this thing's in play, and it's playing Gold Bears. This thing's in play. I've just lost the game.
I
Yeah,
think like it comes down to you're probably only really wanting this. Assuming your meta isn't dominated by Golbez decks, you're only really putting this in your deck if you're already playing that deck that we are already agreeing might exist, but we're not sure, that runs Sid Randall and the thing that searches for Sid Randall.
Yep.
Because one slot for our Remedy that when she's in play with your other guy and is above curve.
The fact
kind
Mute
of-
exists makes it a lot more playable.
Yeah.
Because in my early iterations, I had a couple Sid Randalls, one of this, and a couple of Mutes.
Yeah.
Just so I had the
That
option to
sounds very
find
good.
this.
Yeah.
It's just that a couple of Mutes took up really valuable backup space.
Oh, yeah.
And the Sid Randalls took up really valuable forward space. And then the Remedy was also just piggybacking off of that. So I ultimately didn't include it, but yeah, maybe when some meta shapes up, it was something. Like it also hits a lot Gao,
Yep. Yeah.
which like
And Lena. Right?
Yeah.
if-
Gal and Lena and water. I mean, it hits like.
Like I think
some
there's
things.
a wide enough breadth of non-Golbez things that this just happens to interact with. That
it'll probably hit something against any particular random deck that you're against. It'll probably hit something, but it's not equally effective against all these random things.
That's true.
Magic Pot pretty much doesn't care.
that's
Right.
that's true.
Yeah.
So
So what was our score for the card?
I gave it a 3.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that
think
sounds
three's fair.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's it.
next card. Jared, do you want to
Sure
finish this off?
thing. All right, we have Locke, who is a 3-cost 7k treasure hunter from Final Fantasy VI. He reads, when Locke enters the field, if you control 2 or more Category 6 characters other than Locke, your opponent discards 1 card from his or her hand. When Locke deals damage to an opponent, your opponent discards 1 card from his or her hand. And he's got Mirage Dive, which is a special ability that reads S. Locke can't be blocked this turn.
Yep.
So I mean, he's a discard card.
Yep. He is a strong discard
He's
card.
a very strong
He's
discard.
like
card.
Genesis without the Dull and Freeze.
Yeah,
But with a discard on ETB instead.
And he can get through for the
Yeah.
other one if you got more of him.
Yeah, so the Genesis, once Genesis is in play and it's done its ETB, it's just the same as Lock.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a
They're the
7k on hit, they discard a card. But then Lock also has the S, which if you want to discard a card to make them discard a card, there you go. And it's a card you've already got in play, so it's not like you could play that card anyway.
But this one dies to Zeller and Genesis doesn't.
It's
true.
This dies to Zeller. And I think the most important thing about Lock is it smooths out the 6 characters in Mono Ice specifically, because you can go like once you've got your 2 backups down, you can Setzer into Lock and then Lock, and that's a really nice play. Leaves you 2 7Ks and one that's threatening to do something horrible when it gets through for damage, and one that lets it get through for damage if you don't let it through for damage. So it's really nice for that reason. I've recently been heavily after locks just to fill in a nice little oil.
It really gives you the CP options. You have 3 and 4. For
And
the
5.
6, and 5, and I guess you have 6 as well. For
Yeah.
Amaro, so you just have a breadth of cost you can search for, and you can search for whatever's most efficient if you want to play it right away, or you can just bank it up later.
It's a very good card, but fits in a particular deck.
Yes.
Because you need those 6 characters for it to be.
Yeah, you have to
I
have.
guess.
It's basically just Stallion, Empire, Sid, and Setzer.
Most of
the
the
2
time.
things it's going to see
Yep.
most of the time.
Yeah. But like you still have to put those in, you know.
Yeah.
Is he a good guy to end your like chain on?
I think
So you just went Sid, Setzer, Lock, or Setzer, Sid, Lock?
Yeah,
He
that's
is,
a very
because
strong
that's
thing.
he's you play them in the same turn usually.
Yeah.
And you have a significant board presence, and then you just kind of like switch modes from playing backups into just going for the attack.
Yeah.
Respect me is what he says, just like Genesis.
Respect my authority.
And the fact he's not called Genesis, but with the same effect.
Yeah,
And
that's
he can also be
very
more
important.
proactive than Genesis, because Genesis to get value they need a forward and play. Lock you can just play when they have nothing.
Yeah, and I think Lock is the final piece of critical mass for the discard in Ice Set, which makes discard a supplementary strategy that you don't have to go out of your way for, and it's just incidentally pressuring your opponent really hard. Like with the Flans now, the Lock, the Genesis. I think that's enough to just be like, oh my hand.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was our score for the card?
Definitely going to need a synergy rating for this one.
I think he's 3+1.
I would say that.
Really?
I think we do the generic folded in without the synergy. We don't think he gets the ETB. Because you could feasibly play him just for the on-hit effect.
Yeah, you could.
In which case, he wouldn't be that good.
That's why I would say 3, and
yeah.
then the +1, because he's not going to be auto include. Would he?
Once you've got the 6 stuff, I think he is.
Lock is amazingly powerful.
Yeah.
Just like if you compare him to Zidane,
Yeah.
he's like 1 CP more, but you have this amazingly strong, threatening body.
Yeah.
Well, he's not strong, but very threatening.
If
If it gets through
your
for
opponent
damage,
has to respect the fact that if he hits them, you fall behind. Like I think in the last podcast, Chris, you were saying, whenever you hit somebody with a Genesis once,
you're very far ahead.
You're far ahead, and by the time you hit them the second time, you win the game.
I'd like to clarify something about that. That's also because I have enough control to let Genesis through.
That is. Yeah.
Whereas Lock, because he makes them discard when he comes in as well. It's not like you hit him once, well, discarded 2, you've won the game now. Because he hasn't dulled and frozen anything, which then lets him through.
Right.
He has the S to let him through, but that costs an additional card. So it's when, there's a bit more at play than just Genesis on its own. For that. But yes, if this thing does hit twice, you've won.
Okay, so what was the final score? Which Sacred?
I'd say 3+2. I
Okay.
think it's worth 5 stars once it's got the synergy.
Okay. So, I guess that's it. Thanks for listening, guys. Come join us tomorrow for our final set review, Fire. Let us know in the comments what you guys think of this set review. And,
Let us know if you agree with us. And
let us know if you agree with us and if we said something right, said something wrong.
And make sure to come back in a few months' time and laugh at us.
Yeah. I'm a bit sad that we got to play with the cards before doing our full review.
Yeah, because the first 4 elements were like kind of first impressions before we got the cards.
But I tried to fit in there the stuff, my initial impressions, like Lich and Amaro and things like that.
Anyways, number 1 Potato Boss out.